questions so far? I know I'm going fast. Having to record things always does that.
Do you have a place where you can get red slip?
You can just make it if you want.
Oh, okay.
So you can like go over, good question. I usually don't make slip because when I do this scoring, the it slips itself because it creates little trenches, and then those trenches just absorb the water. You'd want to use a bigger brush than this too, by the way, because you can see how many times I have to reload the brush. But if you want to use slip, all you have to do is just go over to that reclaim container over there. I mean, you can grab the slurry, but if you like pulverize dry clay and add water, that makes slip right away.
Okay.
Good question. All right, so let's add our first addition. And it's not an exact science, and it's a little awkward at first, and you're gonna be like, oh my God, this guy's a hack, that looks like crap. But that's because you just have to get this thing on there first. And maybe I am a hack. Let's do this. I'm gonna put 4 little plugs of clay underneath here to help hold this up. It'll balance itself once this is on there, but right now that was annoying. So I'm just setting it on right now. I'd recommend, like, this is a pretty big piece to just, if this is your first time working with clay or doing this process, start off with a smaller piece of clay because it's a little bit easier to understand the process that I'm showing you. If you've done coil building before, this is pretty much the exact same thing, but you're doing it with a little strap. So I don't know if you can see, but I cut these they're not gonna be a butt joint when they join together, they're a bevel. So two 45-degree angles coming together. So it's like they're holding hands basically, okay? And I am going to score that. Even though this is joining the same state of clay together, it creates a strong bond. All right, so let's squish that in. And now our job is to get this coil attached to our base. So I'm just going to start trying to line it up. And you'll notice like the clay will want to go this way or that way. This is a malleable material. You are in charge, so you just need to push it in the direction you want it, okay? So don't let this stuff push you around. So like right here, this wanted to go back. I just have to keep like pushing it forward. So once it's on there, roughly where I want it, I'm going to start pinching it on to really get a nice attachment. So what would have happened if I had done what I just did on that base that I made right now? It would have just flattened, yeah. So you can see like I'm putting a lot of pressure on this thing down here. These like lugs of clay are helping offset the weight that's on there, but it's really important that you let those bases get stiff. And yes, I said bases plural because I might backpedal on this, but I have it set up as you're making 4 of these for the first assignment, okay? And it's possible that we'll switch it to 3 or 2, but because I've never done this, so I don't know what we're really getting into. Well, I've never done this with intro. So, but I think you can do it, and something that helps is that like once I get this on here and I pinch this wall a little bit more and like lift it up, now this has to set up.
Before you go to the next one?
Yeah. So the idea there is You get 4 bases, and you kind of start going down the
You
line.
can do it like day by day.
Exactly.
Stage by
Yep,
stage.
and you have to.
Right.
So what I'm doing right now is, I've kind of hybridized techniques here now. So the first technique was like coil building, right? So you roll coils and just imagine it kind of like a 3D printer. You're just adding up, and with coils you can build any shape you imagine. Like coils, you just like, you either put the coil, if you want to go up, you stack the coils right on top of one another. If you want to go outwards, the coil goes on that outside shoulder. If you want to go inwards, the coil starts going on the inside shoulder. Does that make sense? So you can build anything with coils, but this technique that I'm doing right now, yeah, I put a coil down, or a strap coil down, but now what I'm doing is pinching. So in that pinching, the pressure is displacing the clay